Welcome back to U.S. Immigration's Forms Coach. Now, my absolute promise to you in every single explainer on this channel is this. By the time this explainer ends, you will know exactly what to do next. No confusion, no guessing, no wondering if you filled something out correctly. Just clear, confident, step-by-step guidance from start to finish. That is what we do here every single day. So settle in, get your documents ready, and let's walk through today's explainer together, one step at a time. Today, we are demystifying Form 1040-NR, the ultimate non-resident tax guide.
All right, let's just dive right into it by confronting the ultimate gatekeeper to your tax identity. Are you a U.S. resident for tax purposes? Everything starts right here because the answer entirely dictates your next steps. Before you fill out a single line of paperwork, you have to know exactly how the IRS views your residency. We're going to use a really simple decision tree today. First up, the residency riddle. Second, exempt individuals and exceptions. Third, understanding Form 1040-NR. Fourth, treaties and tax exemptions. And finally, filing and getting help. Okay, Section 1, the residency riddle. To solve this riddle, we're actually looking directly at an internal IRS audit process guide. This just goes to show how seriously they take these residency rules. I know dealing with IRS bureaucracy can feel incredibly frustrating, but understanding their very own playbook gives you the upper hand. When examiners look at your file, they're applying the substantial presence test to see if you have established a physical presence in the United States. So how do they actually do the math? Well, to pass the substantial presence test, you have to meet a two-part requirement. First, you must be physically present in the U.S. for at least 31 days during the current year. Second, you have to hit 183 days over a 3-year period. But here's the trick. It's not just a simple day-for-day count. You count all of your days in the current year, but then only a third of your days from the prior year, and just 1/6 of your days from the year before that. The results of that math? Incredibly consequential. If you meet the test, you're generally classified as a resident alien. That means you file the standard Form 1040 and you are taxed on your worldwide income. But if you don't meet that 183-day fractional threshold, you're a non-resident alien and you must file Form 1040-NR, focusing only on your U.S.-sourced income. Moving right along to Section 2, exempt individuals and exceptions. What's really fascinating here is that even if you hit that magic number for the test, you still might not be considered a resident. The IRS actually recognizes that not all days spent in the U.S. should count against you. Certain days simply drop right out of the equation. For instance, if you're just in transit between two foreign points for less than 24 hours, those days don't count. If you suddenly developed a medical condition while in the U.S. that physically prevented you from leaving, those are excluded too. And crucially, there are specific exempt individuals, like students, teachers, or trainees on specific visas. But hold on, a massive word of caution is required right here. Being an exempt individual, like an F1 student, just means your days aren't counted for the substantial presence test. It does absolutely not mean you are magically exempt from filing U.S. taxes. You're simply exempt from being counted as a resident. You definitely still have to report to the IRS. All right, Section 3, Understanding Form 1040-NR. When you're staring down Form 1040-NR, you're going to constantly see the phrase effectively connected income, or ECI. In plain English, this just refers to money you made that is tied directly to a U.S. business or trade. For most folks listening to this, that means your wages, your salary, or income from a U.S.-based business you operate. This is the income that is taxed at graduated rates exactly like a U.S. citizen. Now, there is a massive pitfall you absolutely have to avoid. A person filing Form 1040-NR literally cannot file a joint return, period.
This trips up so many people, but the rule is completely black and white. Even if you are happily married, living together, and sharing all your expenses, at the very top of page 1 on Form 1040-NR, you are legally required to select married filing separately. There is no joint filing privilege here for non-residents, no exceptions.
Let's look at another major warning sign, and this one involves the Earned Income Credit, which is a very popular tax benefit. You cannot claim this credit if you, your spouse, or your qualifying child did not have a Social Security number issued on or before the due date of the return. Plus, the specific type of Social Security card you hold really matters. If your card has a legend printed right on it stating "not valid for employment," meaning it was issued just so you could receive a federally funded benefit like Medicaid, you are strictly barred from claiming the Earned Income Credit. The IRS checks this closely for sure, so make sure you understand the exact status of your SSN.
Okay, Section 4, Treaties and Tax Exemptions.
Let's pivot to some good news. We're going to explore how international tax treaties might actually save you a chunk of money. The U.S. has specific tax treaties with many countries designed to prevent double taxation and encourage academic exchange. Countries like Egypt, Korea, the Philippines, Poland, Romania, and a bunch of others have special agreements. Depending on your specific visa and purpose, whether that's teaching, researching, or studying, these treaties can exempt a portion, or sometimes even all, of your income from federal withholding.
But, and this is a big but, you have to claim it correctly. If you're claiming these treaty exemptions, you must properly report the exempt amount on Schedule OI of your return. And, more importantly, you must attach any Form 1042-S you received that documents that treaty-exempt income right to the front page of your 1040-NR. If you don't attach the proof, the IRS will more than likely deny the exemption outright. Finally, Section 5, Filing and Getting Help. Let's wrap this up with the actual mechanics of filing this paperwork and getting your hands on any refunds owed to you. If you had a really simple tax year, there's actually a shortcut. If you are a non-resident alien with no U.S. trade or business, absolutely no effectively connected income, and your tax liability was completely covered by money withheld at the source, you get to use a simplified procedure. This streamlined process exists solely to help you claim a refund of U.S. tax that was withheld in error or just over-withheld. For those of you who'd rather just hand this whole shebang off to an expert, keep this in mind. If you hire a paid professional to handle your taxes, they are generally required by the IRS to electronically file your Form 1040-NR. And honestly, e-filing is faster, it's more secure, and it usually results in a much quicker refund if you're owed one. But what if you're sitting there thinking, your activities in the U.S. were so incredibly limited that you don't even have any effectively connected income to report? You might be tempted to just skip filing altogether, right?
Well, that brings us to a final, absolutely critical strategy. Have you considered filing a protective return? Even if you think your income isn't taxable, you should strongly consider filing a Form 1040-NR by the deadline anyway. Why? Because it acts as a powerful insurance policy. It protects your right to claim deductions and credits later on, just in case the IRS audits you and decides your income actually was taxable. If you didn't file a protective return, you literally lose the right to those deductions. So, my final question to you is, are you willing to risk losing your hard-earned deductions, or will you take that simple step to protect yourself today? Thank you so much for walking through this explainer with me. Take what you've learned today, organize those documents, and step forward with absolute confidence.